spell your first and last name?
Yes, Brett Brandon, B-R-E-T-T, Brandon, B-R-A-N-D-O-N.
Thank you, Josh. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
All right, just to let everyone know, there's a lot of exhibits here, so Mark and I are going to try to do this, at least get the exhibits together to be as efficient and quick as possible. Special Agent, what's your formal title?
It's a special agent with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, commonly referred to as the ATF.
All right, and as part of as being a special agent in the ATF, what are you assigned to right now?
Right now I'm assigned to the Pontiac Gun Violence Task Force. It's a partnership with the Oakland County Sheriff's Office focused on investigating the criminal possession and use of firearms, specifically shooting investigations.
Okay, and for those of us who don't, or people might not know exactly, it should be common sense with the name, but what does the ATF do?
The ATF enforces the nation's arson, explosives, and firearms laws, but as you might expect, our primary focus is on enforcing the federal firearms laws.
Okay, and does it involve state laws or regulations in any way?
Yes, so as I stated before, I'm on the Pontiac Gun Violence Task Force, and through that and other partnerships, we commonly embed with and work with state and local law enforcement on a daily basis.
Okay, so you do still enforce state laws in that capacity?
Yes, investigate state crimes, yes,
okay.
with the state and locals.
Investigate, thank you. Can you tell the jury what your background and experience is?
Yes, I have a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science from Oakland University. I also went to law school for 1 year at the Catholic University of America. I then went to the ATF National Academy and completed the requisite training to become a special agent.
So you would rather be a special agent than a lawyer?
Yes.
Okay. And how many years have you been in the ATF?
I've been an agent for a little over 10 years, and I've been with the agency for nearly 15 this summer. I was a student intern working primarily in intelligence for 4 years, both in undergrad and that 1 year of law school.
Okay. Approximately how many shooting investigations have you been involved in?
Hundreds.
Hundreds?
Yes.
And you testified earlier, your job is to enforce and investigate federal firearm laws, but do you have a general understanding of state firearm laws?
Yes, I investigate crimes committed within the state of Michigan involving firearms as a part of my assignment on the task force and other previous assignments with that task force setting. Yes.
Okay. Special Agent, do you know who Jennifer Crumbley is?
Yes.
Do you see her anywhere in the courtroom today?
I do.
Would you describe what she's wearing?
She's got a gray and white sweater on, seated at the defense table in the middle.
Thank you. May the record reflect he's properly identified.
The record will reflect the in-court identification of the defendant, Jennifer Crumbley.
How did you get involved in the investigation on this prosecution and one with the shooter? Can you explain to the jury how that happened?
Yes, I'm the federal agent assigned to the Oxford shooting investigation.
Okay, and let's go back to November 30th. Do you remember where you were that day?
Yes.
Where were you in the morning?
I was in the Detroit Division office in downtown Detroit.
Okay, and when did you first hear of the shooting?
Within several minutes of the shooting, an assistant special agent in charge at the time came into my partner and I's office and informed me that there had been a shooting at Oxford High School. He knew that I grew up in a surrounding town, was aware of the area, and wanted to inform me. I immediately grabbed my things and ran out the door out to my car and drove north.
Okay, you've responded, and part of your job, do you respond to active shooters?
Yes.
Okay. When you heard about the Oxford shooting, did anyone assign you or tell you you had to drive there and go to the scene?
No.
And did anyone else in your office at that moment go with you?
At that time, I think information was still coming in. At that time, I don't think anyone had responded yet. No.
And what made you go immediately?
I've had familiarity with the area. I knew exactly how to get to Oxford High School. I'd also been involved in another investigation recently with the Oakland County Sheriff's Office at that time. I had a close relationship with them, and thought that I'd be able to get on the ground quickly and help out in any way I could.
And this was the community that you're familiar with?
Yes.
Okay. About how long was it after you heard that you left the building?
Immediately. My chair was still spinning, according to my partner.
So was your partner there when you left?
No, he had stepped out for a minute.
And when he came back, your chair was spinning?
Yes.
Okay. So how long does it take you to drive from downtown Detroit to Oxford High School in a normal day?
With traffic, could be quite a time, definitely around an hour.
All right. Talk to me about once you got on the road, on the way up there.
As I started driving on the freeway, I believe it was when I got to the Troy area, the Big Beaver exit, that I began to notice other law enforcement with their lights and sirens activated, also driving north on 75 and joined somewhat of, I'd call it a caravan on I-75, joining other people.
What was the rate of speed in the caravan?
It was fast, but it was safe.
So there was no traffic. Was everyone moving to the side of the road?
Yes, people were getting over at that time, yes.
Okay. As you drove, were you aware whether or not it was a false alarm or if it was a real active shooting situation?
As I drove, I began to receive information from our intelligence employees that it was indeed a real shooting and that we're reporting there were victims and fatalities.
Okay. Do you remember who else you talked to on the way to the shooting?
I spoke to ATF Intelligence Research Specialist Michael Malone. At one point, I also spoke to my wife.
About how long did it take you to get there?
Approximately 35 minutes.
And you arrived with a caravan of other first responders?
Yes, as I got off Little Pier Road around 24 to drive north towards the high school, it was like the Red Sea had parted and everyone was parked on the right side of the road. And there was a caravan now of people coming from Auburn Hills and Pontiac, unmarked cars, marked cars, and joining that caravan to get to the high school.
Lights and sirens?
Yes.
Okay. What did you observe when you approached the Oxford High School complex?
When I arrived at the school, I saw some Oakland County deputies that I'd known from prior cases, as well as other people from other departments starting to run towards the school. At that point, I don't exactly recall when I learned that the shooter was in custody, but I knew there was no gunfire going on and no one was moving as if the threat was still active. It became clear to me that not the scene was secure, but that the threat had been either eliminated or detained.
Did you see any students in the parking lot or around?
No.
Were you able to determine where the students were?
Yes, as I drove past, I believe it's the Meyer there, it seemed like there was way more cars than normal in that parking lot, so I assumed that's where they were meeting. Okay,
so you approached the building and did you enter the building?
Yes.
Which entrance? Can you go on?
It would have been.
Never mind, it's going to be too much. We had a map of the school that we minute earlier, but where in relation to that hallway did you approach the building?
I arrived at the main entrance, which would be off Ray Road, and where the parents would drop off their students in the morning or pick them up in the afternoon and the buses go. I arrived at that entrance. Okay, when you approached the entrance, were you allowed in? Yes, my law enforcement status was verified and I was allowed to enter the building, yes. Okay, tell the jury what you did. As I entered, I realized that they were on their, I believe at that time, their second clear of the building to make sure that it was safe. Again, I worked with other individuals from the Oakland County Sheriff's Office, and they informed me that Lieutenant Willis was in charge. At that time, I thought the best use of my federal abilities and assistance would be to locate the firearm and start the urgent trace. So I just want to stop you there, backing up. You go into the building, and when you say it was a second clear, so just to make sure everybody knows, that means the students were no longer there. Yes, the students have been evacuated at that time, yes.
The shooter was in custody? Were you able to learn that?
Yes, during that time is when I learned that the shooter was in custody.
Okay, and what was the scene like when you approached? And like, how many people did you see?
There were dozens, if not 100 law enforcement officers in the main front office area of the school.
Okay, and you were told that Lieutenant Willis was the ranking officer in charge?
Yes.
Okay, this guy right here.
That's right.
Okay, and did you track him down?
Yes.
Where was he?
He was standing in front of the administrative offices in the front of the school.
Okay, and what did you do?
I told him that I was from ATF. I believe some other people let him know who I was as well. And then I asked if I could get the identifying information and physically observe the firearm used in the shooting.
Why did you do that?
So to start a trace to determine who first bought the firearm, I needed to know the make, model, and serial number of the firearm. And I wanted to physically inspect it to make sure that the information I was getting was accurate.
Okay, but it might seem like an obvious question, but that's also what the ATF does, correct?
Yes, that's our primary role in a situation like this. In addition to being, responding to the active shooter situation, that is the number one thing that we offer that other people can't start themselves. Yeah.
Okay, and so what was Lieutenant Willis's response to that request?
Lieutenant Willis brought me to where the firearm was located. It was in a trash receptacle with some other items, I believe a couple magazines and maybe the shooter's cell phone. And I was allowed to take pictures of those items and markings. I transmitted that information to ATF Intelligence Research Specialist Michael Malone to start the urgent trace.
Okay, when you say a trash bin, this wasn't a stationary thing. This was someplace, the weapon and the magazines were placed there by some law enforcement, correct?
Correct.
Okay, to basically contain them.
Yes.
All right, and had they been touched, do you know?
To my knowledge, they hadn't been touched. I know the firearm was made safe and a round was ejected to make sure there was no other additional rounds in the firearm. But other than that, I don't think it had been handled at that point.
Okay, and you immediately started tracing the gun, you said?
Yes.
Okay, and then what did you do?
It was learned through that process that an individual in Rochester, Michigan had purchased that firearm.
I'm sorry, Special Agent, let's describe the weapon. Were you able to tell what kind of weapon it was?
Yes, it was a Sig Sauer SP 2022 9mm pistol with a specified serial number.
Okay. And I'm sorry I interrupted you, but you were able to find out who owned the gun?
Yes. So based on the tracing process, which ATF can contact the manufacturer to find out who they sold the firearm to, and that would be a federal firearms licensee. Most people call them gun stores, but they're federally licensed gun stores. Through that process, that gun store gets contacted, and then they provide the information that identifies the first purchaser of the firearm in interstate commerce. And that information identified an individual in Rochester. Two special agents went and spoke to that individual who stated they sold it back to the gun store in Oxford, and then those agents then responded to Oxford.
How quickly was that happening?
Within an hour.
They found out in an hour to go to this individual in Rochester who said he already sold it back to the federally licensed store.
Yes, I don't know how long it was between the actual start of the tracing process to when they eventually made it back to the gun store, but it was very quick.
And again, the way you trace a weapon is what? Can you tell the jury?
Yes. So the tracing process, federal firearms licensees, gun stores have to maintain records. It's called the 4473 that shows who they sold the firearm to. They're paper copies held at the business. And so ATF would contact the manufacturer to find out who the manufacturer sold this firearm to.
But how do they identify which gun it is?
It's based on the make, model, and serial number of the firearm.
So every firearm has its own individual serial number?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. What you said agents were doing that, and they ended up at the store where the gun was sold back to, correct? All right. What were you doing during this time?
At that time, I looked for Lieutenant Sam Marsban of the Oakland County Sheriff's Office. I had, again, worked with him on prior cases and wanted to see what I could assist with. It became clear that the Oakland County Sheriff's Office was beginning to type a search warrant for a residence in Oxford, the Crumbley residence on East Street. and I began gathering facts and creating timelines for Lieutenant Marsban to use in the search warrant affidavit.
Okay, and at some point, did you find out what the other special agents found out from the gun store and who that gun was sold to?
Yes.
And what did you discover?
It was sold to James Crumbley on November 26th, 2021.
Okay. At that point, you said you started assisting Lieutenant Marsban?
Yes.
Okay. And then what did you do?
As a part of those responsibilities, Detective Wogrowski was pulling the surveillance video of the school for the shooting, and I started to create a timeline of events and pass that information along to Lieutenant Marsban, as well as, I believe, looking for Ethan's class schedule to determine his whereabouts throughout the day.
Okay. When you learned that the gun was sold on November 26th to James Crumbley, before we get to that, how old do you have to be to purchase a gun in Michigan? Well, under federal law, how old do you have to be?
Under federal law, to purchase a handgun from a federal firearms licensee, you have to be 21 years old.
Okay, and do you know under state law?
Yes, based on my participation in this investigation and others, to buy a handgun from a federal firearms licensee, under federal law is 21. If you're buying a firearm from an individual in the state, that requirement's not there. It's not a federal law to do that. It's 18 years old.
Okay. And to be clear, we're talking about handguns.
Yes.
Okay. Were you able to determine whether or not James Crumbley or anyone else in the household had owned any other firearms?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury how you determined that?
Yes, as a part of taking part in the search warrant at the Crumbley residence, I learned that James Crumbley had previously purchased 2 firearms from that same gun store in Oxford.
Okay, and what were the names of those firearms? What kind of handguns?
There was a Cobra Classic ENT Derringer 22 caliber, as well as a Kel-Tec P17 22 caliber pistol.
Okay, I'm going to hand you what's already been previously admitted, the actual physical evidence, and we are going to, for the protocol, put our gloves on and we're handling it. Let me know when you're ready. Okay. Your Honor, may I approach?
Sure.
Okay. I'm handing you what's marked and admitted as People's 32, Exhibit 32. Can you tell the jury what that is?
Yes, this is the Sig Sauer SP 2022 9mm pistol that was used in the school shooting.
Okay, and just so the jury knows, you've made that safe to handle, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you just hand it to me for a second, just so everyone can see it. Do you know about how much that weighs? It's heavy. For me, it's heavy.
It's not a light firearm, no.
Okay. That's previously admitted.
That's exhibit 32.
It's Exhibit 32. Special Agent, that is the murder weapon, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And what's the significance of a 9mm versus another handgun, particularly the Derringer and the Kel-Tec?
So it would refer to the caliber. So the caliber is measured in the diameter of the bore of the firearm. The bore would be where the projectile or bullet expels from the firearm. If it's the 22, it's just the measurement versus the 9mm, meaning that the 9mm is a bigger round than the 22.
Okay, I don't think they saw that. So the bore you're referring to is right here?
Nope, it would be where the projectile actually would come out of.
Here.
Nope, it would be through, if you actually This would be considered the bore, and that is the size. The diameter of that is the caliber of the specific round and
Can you just
firearm.
hold it up just a little bit so
Yes.
the visitor can see? Okay. You were able to determine that there were 2 other weapons that James Crumbley purchased, correct?
Yes, correct.
And were you able to determine when those weapons were purchased?
Yes, one was purchased on this June 15th and picked up on June 16th. That would be the Cobra Classic ENT Derringer. And then on June 16th, James Crumbley purchased the Kel-Tec P17 22 caliber pistol, but did not pick it up till the 17th of June.
Okay, I'm gonna take this for a second. And then I'm gonna hand you what's People's 33. You can just grab that out of the box.
Yep.
And can you tell the jury what that is?
Yep, this is the Cobra Classic Derringer purchased on June 6th, picked up on June 16th.
Okay, can I have that for a second
Yes.
so they can see? Everyone see that? Okay. So this is significantly smaller than the 9mm. What is, you said earlier, it's the caliber, but some might look at this and say it doesn't even look like a handgun. It's
Yes.
very small.
It is very small, and it only has a 2-round capacity for the firearm, but it is still a firearm, yes.
Okay. And then I'm gonna hand you People's 34. What is that?
This is the Kel-Tec P17 22 caliber pistol purchased by James Crumbley on June, picked up on June 17th.
Okay. So I've just handed you and admitted 3 separate weapons that were in the Crumbley household. This was the murder weapon referred to. You've examined all the evidence in this case. In fact, you're one of the officers in charge, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And is this the same gun that was posted by Jennifer Crumbley as a Christmas gift to her son?
Yes.
Okay. And how do you know that's the gun? Is there anything unique about it? Just looking at it?
Yes, that's the specific make and model, and obviously the serial number would be distinct as well for the purchase by James Crumbley.
Okay. And then this is the Kel-Tec, significantly lighter. Do you know how much each weighs?
I don't know off the top of my head how much each weighs, but it is lighter than the SIG and the Derringer.
Okay.
The Derringer and the SIG or the Kel-Tec are less than the SIG.
Okay. Can you tell me what the difference is in terms of caliber between the Derringer, the Kel-Tec, and a 9mm? Actually, can you tell the jury?
Yes, so the Derringer on the top is a 22 caliber, the Kel-Tec in the middle is a 22 caliber, and the SIG Sauer is a 9mm.
Okay, so what would you typically use a Derringer and the Kel-Tec for?
Generally speaking, target practice. I guess some may use it for self-defense. I would say more than 9mm for self-defense and target shooting.
Okay, and you said you investigated hundreds of shootings.
Yes.
Okay, any multiple victim shootings?
Yes.
All right, have you ever responded to an investigation or a scene on multiple victim shootings where a Derringer was used?
I can't say for certain if a Derringer was used, but a 22 caliber, regardless of the type of firearm, I don't believe in my career I've ever worked a multiple victim case with a 22 caliber scene.
Okay, why is that?
This, like,
Your Honor, I would object to that. That would be speculation on why he hasn't.
Yeah, there's probably a better question. But he doesn't know why he has.
Can I just get some leeway and I clear it up? I'm just gonna get to that question very, very quickly.
Well, because that does call for speculation, so go ahead.
Okay, thank you. What is the weapon you normally see on a multiple victim shooting?
Your Honor, I would object to the relevance of this. This case is about the SIG Sauer being the weapon. We don't dispute that. We all know that.
Response?
My response is that that weapon is more dangerous. It
Your
causes
Honor,
more
I
damage.
object to
I
this
just-
record.
I'm just-
I object to making this record in front of the jury. Ms. McDonald is using this opportunity to tell the jury information that I'm objecting to, and I'm asking if we can approach.
Okay,
Do you want us on the hall? Or-
actually, the hallway would.
Your Honor, I'm just gonna make a response to the relevance. We are going to show in our case the reason why that weapon, the 9mm, was purchased and why it's significantly different. That is, and it's absolutely relevant. It has to do
You're gonna
with,
present other evidence that will show why that.
yes, including statements of the shooter.
Your Honor, I think that's extremely,
Well, there are some statements that are coming into the trial, right?
there are, Your Honor, but there is no way the prosecutor can prove this weapon was bought to kill people specifically by James Crumbley or Jennifer Crumbley. And this case is about Jennifer Crumbley. It's not about Ethan. It's not about James.
Okay, so part of it is about what they knew though, right? Part of it is about what the parents knew.
Part of it is about what the parents knew, but there is no evidence to lay a foundation that my client knows anything about the deadly capability of these guns. Nothing. She has no,
It
there has
sounds
been
like
no
it sounds like
foundation.
an argument she's gonna make in defense and her defense, and she has a right to it. I just wanna be able to have my witness testify about what kind of weapon this is and what the reason you have a 9mm versus a 22.
Well, I guess a better question is that you can shoot more bullets out of that quicker. Is that what you want to know?
That and the
Don't- I
type of
sound like
damage
a-
those bullets can
I
do.
know a lot about guns, you can tell. Right?
I thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
I'm not sure every member of the jury does, so I'm trying to explain it to people who are not familiar with firearms.
Okay, well, yeah, no, I understand that. Part of what you're saying might be argument, but it's a fact question that the SIG can eject more rounds quicker. You can shoot rounds quicker from the SIG tower
I don't
than the
know.
other two.
I don't know if that's necessarily true.
So if you just give me a couple questions.
Okay.
All right, thank you. What
let's
is
hear
the
the question.
difference between the SIG and a 22?
It's the size of the round is the main difference.
Okay, the size of the actual bullet, for lack of another, I know you say round, okay.
Yes.
And why does the size matter?
The size matters because the larger the bullet, the bigger the hole.
Okay, more damage, whatever it is you're shooting.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. All right. You said that when when the other special agents were finding out where these weapons were purchased, you were still at the school.
Yes.
And then can you talk about what you did with Lieutenant Marsman?
Yes, I was watching the surveillance video from the school documenting the shooter's path through the day as well as his actions during the shooting.
Okay, and what were you able to view?
The actual surveillance video of the shooting taking place.
And who showed that to you?
I was with Lieutenant Marsman and Detective Wobrowski.
Okay, when you say the actual surveillance, what does that mean?
There was an administrative office inside the high school that had the computer system with the surveillance video playing on a large monitor. I was in that room reviewing the footage as it played.
Okay, and we're gonna get back to that, but at some point, did you actually go to the home?
Yes.
Why did you do that?
Lieutenant Marsman had obtained the search warrant at that time, and I responded to assist with the search warrant.
And when you arrived, who else was there, if anyone?
Multiple detectives from the Oakland County Sheriff's Office and also Lieutenant Marsman.
Did you actively search the home, or were you just present?
I actively assisted in the search.
Okay, did you recover anything in the house related to these weapons or relating a case, anything? What did you find I don't want to put words in your mouth.
I was present for the recovery of evidence, and I also observed two targets on the wall in what would be the, I guess you'd call it the shooter's childhood bedroom, which shares a wall with his parents'
Okay,
bedroom.
before we get to that, did you recover these two handguns in the house?
I was not the one who recovered them, but I was present when everything was there.
Okay.
Yes.
Were any other cases or boxes or anything related to the firearms recovered?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna hand you what's been marked as People's 35. Can you tell the jury what, yeah, it's, well, what that is?
Yes, this is the pistol case that came with the Kel-Tec pistol. It would be the middle firearm on the table.
So this.
Yes.
And you previously testified and to the other witness, this was purchased June 21st.
It would be June 17th.
Oh, I'm sorry, June 17th, okay. All right, and does that case have a locking mechanism?
It's not locked now. There are two holes in it, like most standard pistol cases, where if you needed to lock it, you could slide standard locks through each one of these holes.
You see this? So these holes right here.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that cable? Is that what you do with the cable?
No, we're going to get to that here.
Okay.
I promise. Okay, can you open that case? Okay, do you know where that case was found?
Yes, it was in the kitchen, I believe, underneath the Highlander in a cabinet.
Okay. And if I can see this for a second, you open it up, and what's inside this Kel-Tec case?
That is a cable lock.
Okay. Is this how it was discovered? Was this cable lock in the Kel-Tec case when this was found?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna hand you the cable lock, and can you tell the jury exactly what that is?
Yes, so cable lock is used as a mechanism to make a firearm inoperable, and it's something you have to defeat to operate the firearm.
What do you mean defeat?
So you have to find the key, unlock it, or take it off in some other way to load and discharge the firearm.
Okay, when you examined that for this first time, what, if anything, did you notice about it?
I noticed there wasn't much wear and tear. The packaging didn't have many markings on it, as if the cable lock had been taken in and out. It's very wide, so taken out many times, there'd be more markings on the sides of this cable lock. It looks almost new.
Does it look like it's ever been disturbed?
No.
How many keys go with a cable lock?
Generally, you receive two keys on the same key ring for one cable lock.
Okay, are there two keys in there?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else about this? All right, have you ever opened this up?
No.
And as far as you know, no one's actually disturbed this?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, so this is it. This is in the same condition as it was when it was found in the Kel-Tec case, correct?
Yes, that's my understanding.
Okay, can this be used on all of these handguns?
It can be used on the Kel-Tec pistol and the Sig Sauer pistol. I'm not sure how small that cable is for the Derringer. It may fit, I'm not quite sure.
Okay, thank you. This is exhibit 39,
Yeah,
the cable lock,
the lock is separate.
yes.
Okay.
And that's it. All right, I'm handing you what's been admitted as People's 36. And what is that, Special Agent?
This is a black safe with a combination on the front. It was found in the Crumbley parents' bedroom on the shelf in the TV stand or dresser where they kept their TV.
Okay, how many numbers is the combination?
It's 3.
All right, and what is it set at?
0, 0, 0.
All right, what's significant about 000?
That is generally the factory default for a lot of safes.
Okay, so even though to some people who aren't familiar with firearms, this might look like a box, this is actually what you refer to as a gun safe, correct?
Yes,
You call this a safe?
I would call that a safe, yes.
Okay. What, if anything, was found inside this safe?
Both the Derringer and the Kel-Tec pistol were located inside that safe.
Okay, I'm gonna hand this back to you. And then I'm going to hand you the Kel-Tec that was found in it. And if you could place that in there as it was found, if you can.
Imagine the slide was forward on this.
And then I'm handing you the Derringer. Okay, can I see that back? Is this how these two handguns were found in the bedroom of Jennifer and James Crumbley?
Yeah, I don't recall the exact positioning, but both were placed in that safe, yes.
Okay, and it was closed and locked to 000.
I'm not sure the combination at the time when it was recovered. I know that the combination is 000.
Okay. Have you had an opportunity to examine this and determine whether or not the SIG fit in this safe?
Yes, the SIG is too large of a firearm. The safe will not close with that firearm inside the safe being a SIG.
Okay. Will it not close if there's another one of the other handguns, or it won't fit no matter, regardless of whether another handgun was in there?
It will not fit by itself or with another firearm. It will not close.
Okay. All right, I'm handing you what's been admitted as People's 31. What is that?
This is the pistol case for the Sig Sauer 9mm pistol used in the school shooter.
Okay, so in other words, that is the case that this SIG was sold in?
Yes.
Okay, and do you know where that was found in, where was it recovered, if you know?
It was located on the bed in the Jennifer and James Crumbley's bedroom next to an empty box of Patriot Defense ammunition.
Okay, and does that have a locking mechanism?
It doesn't have it inserted, but as the other pistol case, there are 2 holes in the pistol box that you could place a locking mechanism through to secure the case.
Okay, and
Your Honor, I would just object as to foundation for where the gun case was found, because this special agent came in after other law enforcement had pulled that case out of the bed. And so it's very misleading for this jury to hear that this gun case is just laying on a bed. And so I would just ask that there be foundation laid about how he.
Okay, I understand. So,
could we respond?
yeah,
Okay.
Johnson, he was on scene, at the search warrant scene.
he was on the search warrant scene, but what she's saying is he initially the one that found that case and wasn't found on the bed? Can you clarify?
It was found on the bed, but I think that at least 2 times Ms. Smith said she didn't object to foundation on our exhibits, in which case it sounds like she does, because that's a foundational question. And
That's not true. I object to the question. I don't object to the exhibit. I object to the foundation about the testimony of that being found on the bed, making it sound like these parents left it out on the bed.
we're happy to have we have Officer Stoic to.
When you saw the gun case, it was on the bed?
No,
No.
not when I was in the search warrant house. No, when I was in the house for the search warrant, I did not observe it on the bed. No, at that point, it had been moved off the bed.
Okay.
We're happy to bring that in through another officer, no problem. Okay,
Can we get clarification then on where he saw this gun case? I can ask on cross. I'm sorry, never mind.
when's the first time that you had a chance to examine that, Special Agent?
I believe it was on the, with the other evidence, either on the kitchen counter or on the dining room table inside the Crumbley house, once I arrived on scene.
So you saw it that day?
Yes.
Okay, and if you can place it on the ledge there so the jury can see it, can you turn it around? Is it clasped right now?
Are you, you're moving for its admission, right?
It's already admitted.
I don't think it was admitted.
Oh, she stipulated to the admission. And-
You know what happened? It was listed under a different
Okay.
witness, but we do stipulate.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Could you, is it clasped completely right now?
Yes.
Okay, could you, would you mind would you mind if you stand right there?
Yep.
They're all like trying to stand up to see, so. Is that okay, Judge?
Sure.
Okay. I'd like you to demonstrate how to open that for the jury. If you could just maybe place it on the ledge so that they.
Can you all see it?
Your Honor, we can't see it. Can we?
You can move if you want.
Okay,
Or he can.
but can we just see it maybe twice, like
Sure.
show them and then?
Sure.
Thanks.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, can we just see it? Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, and then if you could clasp it back. Okay, so special agent, I know it sounds like a silly question, but it makes a noise when you open it and clasp it back, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna get to that in a second. I'm sorry, Aaron, it's just a lot of exhibits and I wanna make sure I get to everything.
No, that's why I asked about 31, so yeah, okay.
All right. You don't have, well, do you want me to hold that for now or you?
Put it on the ground.
When you heard Ms. Spack testify about what is provided with somebody when they purchase a handgun, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and she mentioned materials from the ATF.
Yes.
Okay. There's a pamphlet actually provided, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm approaching, is this a copy of the pamphlet?
Yes, it is.
Okay, can you tell the jury what the title of it is?
It's the ATF Youth Handgun Safety Act Notice.
All right, and if you open up the pamphlet, what are the first two items
For
there?
the record, that's 37, right?
Yes.
That's a demonstrative aid 237. Which is,
Oh, okay.
Right, wait, I'm gonna get to it. Okay,
So at the top, it says Youth Handgun Safety Act Notice. The first bullet point says, the misuse of handguns is a leading contributor to juvenile violence and fatalities. Number two, safely storing and securing firearms away from children will help prevent the unlawful possession of handguns by juveniles, stop accidents, and save lives.
how familiar are you with that pamphlet?
From this investigation, pretty familiar.
Okay, and what is the purpose and the law around, if you know, why is that included in every sale?
I think the title of the pamphlet speaks for itself. It's a Youth Handgun Safety Act Notice. It's putting you on notice that not safely storing your firearms will contribute to juvenile violence.
Okay. You've had an opportunity to examine all of the evidence in this case, probably the digital evidence, the evidence from the phones, the physical evidence, the narratives, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and what did you notice when the SIG was photographed by the shooter and then a couple of the other images taken? Was the pamphlet with it?
In some photos it was, in others it was not.
Okay, and up until recently, what did you think happened to the pamphlet that was sold with the SIG?
Your Honor, I would object to this to speculation.
Yeah, isn't it speculation?
I'm
Why
getting it. I would just ask for a little leeway.
Okay,
It's
why
part
is-
of his investigation.
Wait, why isn't it speculation? What he thinks happened to the
Know what happened to it?
No.
Okay, and then recently, did you discover what happened to it?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury how?
Preparing for trial, I opened up the Sig Sauer pistol case.
This right here?
No, that would be
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
this one
Okay,
here.
this was in the last week?
Yes.
Okay,
And I noticed that there was a piece of paper underneath the foam, so I lifted up the foam and found a receipt from what we're referring to as the gun store in Oxford for the firearm, as well as the ATF Youth Handgun Safety Act notice.
so it was under the foam in the case that the SIG was stored in?
Yes.
When they left the gun store?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. One moment, Your Honor. That's 37.
Okay. The one in the case is 37.
Yes.
Okay.
Special Agent, what are the requirements once you've been cleared to purchase, and you do purchase a gun in Michigan, once it's cleared and checked and you're allowed to purchase it?
So
Can you
as a
just
part-
take it home and it's yours and that's it?
No, so as a part of this investigation and others, I am aware that when you purchase a firearm in Michigan and are given a pistol sales record by the federal firearms licensee, you do have 10 days to take that to basically local or county law enforcement.
Okay, were you able, or are you able to ever determine whether or not that was done for any weapon? How do you do that?
So there's a law enforcement
Your
database.
Honor, I would just object. May we please approach?